Greetings and good morning again. Thomas Caldwell of the Aurelian Column here to give you an update on what's going on between Ukraine, Russia, and NATO, the United States. What we know so far is that early this morning, local time in the Ukraine, 6 Atacam missiles, that's the way the acronym is usually pronounced for these things, were launched from Ukraine at a munitions dump in the Bryansk region of Russia, which is sovereign Russian territory. It's not in any dispute. According to the Russian Ministry of Defense, as reported by RT News, 5 of the missiles were destroyed. One was reported, quote, damaged, unquote, and caused minor damage on the ground. One has to assume that meant it was shot down. Now, there are conflicting reports that the munitions dump that was targeted was in fact destroyed, and there is some video footage that's being passed around on the internet that is supposed to be the munitions dump going up in a ball of flame, but there's no attribution to that. There's a lot of material that flies around on the internet that isn't accurate. Now, the only thing that is certain is that U.S.-made missiles under NATO control. These things are not just handed over to the Ukrainians. There needs to be some U.S. control, NATO control of them, especially when it comes to targeting. This is coming from some military experts. These missiles were used against Russia. Now, this is a direct attack according to the earlier statements made by Vladimir Putin and other members of the Russian government. Just before this attack occurred overnight, Vladimir Putin did update his country's policy on the use of retaliatory weaponry that includes nuclear weapons. Depending on how you interpret it, if any weapons that are under the control or provided by NATO hit sovereign Russian territory outside of that war zone, well, Russia has every right to respond with everything they have, up to and including nuclear weapons. So far, there has been no military response. The Russian foreign minister, who is down in Rio de Janeiro for the economic conference going down there, did talk about this, of course, to some extent, but it wasn't in any bellicose or threatening manner, as it could have been. Now, for some reason, the Ukrainian regime thought it would be a good idea to launch these things on the anniversary, the 1,000th day of war between Russia and Ukraine, I guess in some form of celebration. Basically, the U.S. is doing what I reported earlier this week, playing chicken. It has been said that Russia would retaliate against NATO under these circumstances. They haven't yet, but we have no indication whether they will or they won't. If they don't, well, they're the ones who blinked. If they do, well, things could go pretty bad. So far, though, there is no formal response in the works that we know of or can see evidence of. I do urge people to stay closely tuned to this because Russia will do something. They're not just going to sit and take this. This is something they were warning about for weeks and months, and it was ignored. Well, that's it for now. I will report back later if and when anything does occur. I urge people to follow things closely. The mainstream media is picking up on this. They were very late to the game, but I would urge just to be careful with the information that is floating around out there. There's a lot of people that are using this as clickbait, and we don't need any of that right now. That's it for now. Stay tuned, and I will be in touch later.